Good morning to all. Myself Shreya and today we are going to learn about the flowers. In my previous video, we had talked about the roots and the stem. I think you should watch that video also, and in that we had done an activity. And I told you that I am going to show you that activity in my next video. So let's see that activity. You can go through that video also by clicking on the I button at the corner. So now, can you see this? So in my previous video, for showing the capillary action, we had done this activity. In this, will you believe that there was the colored water solution only in the one glass, and in the other glass, this glass was fully empty. So how does this colored water solution reached in this? Do you know? By the help of this tissue paper. Can you see it is just fully orange right now, and can you see the drops coming out from it? These, if I am going to do like this. So, it is just teared out, but as you can see how there is so much water which is getting collected in this glass, which is now collected in this glass. So this was the capillary action, and now let's keep it here and let's continue on the topic of flower. So firstly, when we think about the green color, what comes first in our mind? I think probably leaf. If I will say red color, pink color, or the most colorful part of a plant, what is it? Flowers. So can you see these different flowers here? These are the different flowers which I got from the park. Can you see these all? Like this one. This is a hibiscus. So these are the different flowers, and do you notice something, that these are of the different colors? Some are pink, some are white, some are like this type of color, purple and white, and some are red. So these are the flowers are of the different colors. So do you know that why does a flower have a different colors? So for learning about that, let me tell you first, why does a plant needs a flower? So we know that the plants have different parts like the leaf, the stem, the root, and so on. But why is there these flowers? So the flowers are there, or the flowers are needed by the plant for reproduction. Yes. So these flowers are just the reproductive part of a plant. So as we all know that as a living organism, at a point we die and then we reproduce. At a point we die and we also reproduce. So the plants are also the living being, and they also die. Except the one the bristle cone tree. So it was thought of as the oldest tree in the world. It is found in the California, and it is protected by the government. Do you know what is the age of that tree? Okay, so it is estimated that tree is 5,000 years long. That means 57 estimated. That was the estimated age of that bristlecone tree. So now, as we all know that the plants also die, so the plants also reproduce. To keep their species on the world, in the world, they have to reproduce. So they need to have a reproductive part or an organ, and that reproductive part are the flowers. So these flowers are the reproduction. These flowers are used for the reproduction by the plants. Okay, so some of the plant doesn't have these beautiful flowers. For example, the algae and the mosses, these doesn't have the flowers, but most of the plant have the flower. Now let's study about the different parts of a flower, and we are going to cut open a flower also. I have got a paper cutter here also. So now let's cut out a flower and let's explore the different parts of a flower. Let's start with a bird. What is a bird? It is basically a growing stage. Here, can you see this? So this is the growing stage. Basically the flower is not fully grown. The fully grown flowers look something like this, but this is just a bird. What is a bird? Just a pre-stage of a flower. You can thought of it as the pre-stage of a flower. Now, as you can see, these colorful things here wrapped around like a circle. And now, can you see very small these things? These are some green colored, or let's take another one. In this you can see it clearly. So these are the green things. These are known as the sepals. And do you know that the sepal protects the bird so that it can grow safely. So the sepals, these green things which you can see, are the sepals which protect the flower. Now, can you see these very colorful things? So these are the most colorful part of a flower, and these are known as the petals. Oh, rhyming. Sepals, petals. Sepals, petals. Now, what if we open this? So let's open it out. Or let's take the opened flower or the fully grown flower. I have some, like, let's take this one. So can you see these beautiful things? These are the petals, and here is the sepals. Now, as we learned that the flower is the reproductive part of a plant, so do you know that the flower also contains the male cells and the female cells so that it can reproduce? Now let's explore that. So now let's just put these out, or let's cut it out. So let's first remove these petals here. Okay, so this is the sepal. Let's put it here. And these are the petals. Let's see. So do you know that there are same number of sepals and same number of petals? Yes, that has to be, so that it can protect the petals. Now we had fully removed all the petals here. Now let's count the number of sepals and the petals right now. So 1, here is 2, 3, 4 and 5. Let's count these. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So as you can see, number of petals and sepals are equal. Now let's say this one. So do you know that this thing, this long slender stem-like structure, stalk-like structure, is known as pistil, and this is fully a female part of a plant, female part of a flower basically, them. Yes, I've taken it out. So can you see these things? These are very, very small, which is just like these. Can you see this? So these are known as stamen. And do you know that these stamen are the male part? Yes, the female part is the pistil and the stamen is the male part. And this stamen contains a very thin stalk which connects the anther. What is the anther? The top part of the stamen, and that contains the pollen grains, right? The pollen grains. And this thing which connects the anther to the flower is known as the filament. So there are basically two parts of a stamen: filament, which connects that, and anther, which is at the top and that contains the pollen. Now, do you know that the pollen are the male cells? Yes, the pollen are the main cells. And as we had discussed that, let me put it out. Yes. So as we had discussed, this is a pistil, and do you know that the pistil contains again three parts? It is very simple to remember. Stigma, style, this line, this thing is style, and this belly-like structure or swollen structure type of that is the ovary. Stigma, style, ovary. Very simple names. Now, the ovary at the last. The ovary contains the female cells, and that female cells here, that female cells is known as ovules. You can thought of that as eggs. Now what happens is that the pollen grains has to be transferred to the stigma. Stigma is basically the opening. And when the pollen grains fall onto the stigma, then the fertilization happens. What is the fertilization? When the pollen grains get transferred to the ovary with the help of the stigma and style, it is known as fertilization. When these pollen grains start fertilizing or start getting inside the pistil. Now that this stigma is just the opening so that these can get in. Now these pollen grains then transfer to the style and reaches the ovary, and this ovary contains the ovule, which is the female cells, and the male cells and female cells come together and form the seed or the fruits. Now that's how the plants reproduce, and I think you know about the seeds. We can get a new plant from the seeds. So that's how the reproduction is done. And do you know one very interesting thing? I'd ask you one question in the beginning, that why does a flower have the different colors and different smells? So that is because attracting the insects. Now, why? What insects? Why does the flower need to attract the insects? The flower need to do that so that the insects could help them in reproduction. Now, how can an insect help in the reproduction? The insect, when it sits on the flower, the pollen grains start sticking on that insect's leg. And when that happens, as you all know, that when the insect fly, then the pollen grains start falling down, or if the insect sits on another flower, the pollen grains get transferred to the stigma, and then the fertilization happens, and then that's how the seed or the reproduction is done, or that's how the insects help in the reproduction. Now, do you know one very interesting thing? think that some flowers attract the insects with a beautiful fragrance and beautiful color, but some flowers attract the insects with bad smell. Do you know some of them? For example, one which is the biggest flower. Do you know about that? That attracts the house fly by the very bad smell. So now let's write the different parts of a flower on this paper which I have over here. Let's do it together. So now let's take these out. So I have a paper here. Let's name the topic. Parts of flowers. So now let's start naming these. So these were the petals, right? We have learned these out. These are the petals. Now then we have the sepal. And one more thing I want to talk you about is that this stem, can you see this stem? The stem which connects the flower to the stem is known as pedicel. So let me write down this one also. So this is known as pedicel, and this thing is known as, I think we have learned this out, is known as the sepals. Now let me place this. Then we have this pistil, and let me take out some of the stamens. Well, we got some of them and some pollen also. Let's have a look. So it is just sticked in my hand, and as you can see that if it is sticked in my hand, obviously it is going to stick at the legs of the the insects also. Now we have this pistil, so let's name it out also. So at the last, here the sticky thing, here is this thing, the ovary. This one is known as style, this long slender stem. This is known as the style. And this one is known as, the opening is known as the stigma. Stigma, style, ovary. Okay, so here some of the stamens are again sticking in my hand. So here we have named the ovary, style and stigma. Now this whorl, do you know? This whorl is known as the pistil. Pistil, sorry, I had written the spelling wrong. Pistil. Now, then can you see these small things right here? These are, let me collect them up here. So let's name first one of them. They are very small. Can you see that out? This and this. So let me place it out here. Okay. Yes, so it is very small. I think it is a little visible to you. So this is known as filament. And this thing here is known as the anther. And then we had learned that the anther, this anther contains these pollens. Let me bring that out. So now let's get rid of these, some of the stamen here. And these thing yellowish, can you see? These are the pollen. Pollens, which are present in the anther. So you can have a look to these parts of the flower. And one more thing I want to write is that these are how many number? What is the number of the petals? We had counted that out. Remember that? 5. 5 petals and 5 sepals. Same. So the number of petals, let me place it here. Yes. So the number of petals, is equivalent to the number of sepals. You can remember this also. So if the number of the petals are 6 in number, then obviously the number of sepals is going to be 6 as well. So you can have a look to these parts of the flower here. Now I think that I have here a pistil. Can you see this out? Let me bring it out here. So now for showing you the ovules, we are talking about that, right? We have seen the pollens, the male cells. Let's talk about the ovules, the female cells, of course. So now I am going to open this by the help of this cutter here. So here I have a cutter. Let's open it out. So now very carefully so that you don't do the damage. Oh wow, we had seen that. Oh nice. Can you see these out? Very small they are. Let me open it out. It is a little hard. Let's have a look. So let's see. Can you see these? Very small they are basically. See these green structures, these are the ovules, the eggs. Okay, so let's have a closer look. Can you see this out? So these are the ovules, okay. So I think that if you are not able to see that, so now let me show you this by a rough drawing. Should we see that? So these ovules are basically a very little visible, or you can go ahead and cut out any flower. Basically you can have a hibiscus flower and cut it open that, and then you can explore the different parts it down like this. Now I am going to draw just a rough drawing firstly. Just a rough drawing here. So basically, if you will have a pistol like this, and this, so this is the style. Sorry, I had written the spelling wrong here. Style. This is the stigma. And this thing, let me draw it. This thing is the ovary. Now here are the ovules. How does it looks like these. So if you are going to search that out in the net, you can see that out also. They look something like this. So these are the ovules. And this wall is the pistil. You can see these out. And now thank you for watching this video and have a cheerful day ahead. If you want any improvement in me, so you can comment it in the comment box. Thank you.